Justin Fields was picked off twice. The passing game couldn't take off, and they were out their leading wide receiver, Chris Olave, due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Last year in the shoe, end zone, strips the ball away from the tight end. It's big plays like that. Why you want to go to Ohio State?
It's not too bad. It's not pouring. It's kind of slick. I mean, I can feel it just as walking down on the turf. The guys are out here. They're in their rain attire right now.
As Steph Otey joins us in Indianapolis, having watched his team all year, assess the way that they looked throughout the course of this game.
That's a tough one because they've only played 6 games. And when you think about all these other teams, they've had a lot more live game reps. Coach Day talked about that a lot. In fact, that was the first thing he said right when the ceremony took place. He knew this was going to happen. He knew it was going to be a tough game. But when you see guys like Trey Sermon come out, break school records.
You talked about wanting to replace the Bosa name. Is that still on your mind all the time? Last week, Michigan had you very well covered, sometimes 2, 3 guys on you. Some media outlets are saying that might have exposed the blueprint as to how to cover you. Is there a cheat code? He said, I could get struck by lightning if I don't sign today.
Here at Lucas Oil Stadium, as Ohio State and Northwestern face off for the second time in the Big Ten Championship. Stay tuned for everything behind the scenes right here on Fox.
What do you think the key is in this game to keep it close for Indiana?
I think it comes down to Ohio State's defense. You know, at the Nebraska game, they saw some issues on the defensive line. And Coach said that just happens usually when you have that first game. But the secondary is the biggest concern, especially when you're going up against an offense like Indiana. Shaun Wade even said he's not happy with his performance. He knows he can do a lot more. And that's why he came back to Ohio State to play this season. He wants to show them what he can do on the outside. And he just feels like he hasn't done that yet.
They've won 3 in a row. Defense looks good. Plus, the 49ers are banged up with injuries. And even though the number has shrunk, I'm still picking Washington and the points.
You've compared Alex Smith to Joe Burrow, another quarterback you've coached who's in his first year in the NFL. He went to a system that may not be working so well for him, but what do you think needs to happen in Cincinnati for him to find success there?
They had you at Woody Hayes, and you were giving a speech. What were those words of wisdom you gave to the team?
And I feel like we built on it as well.
So, new coach Ryan Day, you've worked with him before. What are you seeing from him this season that you're really enjoying?
I don't think they're in the college football playoff discussion.
I hear you, but I know that some committee members do look at a conference title. And when people were questioning and doubting whether or not Ohio State deserved to be in the Big Ten Championship, they had a meeting, they discussed it, and they decided that they will ease that 6-game qualifier because if Ohio State and Michigan did play in that rivalry game, Ohio State still would have won the Big Ten East because they beat Indiana head-to-head. So I feel for Tom Allen. I feel for the Indiana Hoosiers. But when you get that title for the 4th year in a row, it helps you get into the playoffs. And I know a lot of committee members are going to think about that as well.
Ohio State's credibility has been questioned. Last year, they lost to Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl playoff. And just recently, their head coach, Dabo Swinney, showed that he didn't feel that they earned the spot to be number 4 in the country.
It's a safe space for them to talk openly without judgment about being minority athletes on campus. You had your first interception at Michigan State, and you said you've had mixed feelings on it.
Yeah.
Did it almost come as a relief?
Yeah, I mean,
Individually, lots of national attention, even Heisman talk. Does that get to you at all? Do you internalize that in any way?
Coach Day wanted to give them a feeling of what Ohio Stadium will look like on game day. As of now, fans are not allowed. What decisions led to Commissioner Kevin Warren canceling the season altogether?
What's allowed, in your mind, Indiana to sort of rise in a strange 2020?
I think it comes down to Tom Allen. He's doing so much for this program. And you look at other teams in this conference, it doesn't quite look like some teams want to play for their coach. In a season like this, you're greatly tested and the culture will be exposed. And when you look at Tom Allen in the locker room after that Penn State overtime win, they're screaming, we love you, we love you. And so I think the culture and what he's doing there is really the reason why they're winning all these games and having success, especially during a year like 2020, and they can become a dominant program in the Big Ten.
What has the talk been around him?
Yeah, Trey Sermon came in, and it took a while to come off, but we saw it today. And earlier this season, position coach Tony Alford talked about Trey Sermon. He recruited him, and then they played against each other earlier. And he said there was no hostility. They still really respected each other. In fact, Justin Fields and Trey Sermon worked out together in high school, so they already had some built-in chemistry. But when he came into the program, he really just blended well with them, especially after Master Teague had the Achilles injury in the offseason. They felt like they had to really compete, and it helped up the ante for that.
Ohio State is making their return to the field after the bye week. They got a little banged up after Michigan State, but having this off week helps them adjust to a shorter schedule.
What has been the biggest key in his improvement this season?
He was completely dialed into this offseason. He even said he never thought about opting out. He was always going to stick it through just to see if he had a shot at playing this season. And he really dissected the playbook. He wanted to understand why they're calling these plays. He wanted to read defenses better, and he's really slowed the game down.